Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Do I have a story time for you? Yes, I do. This story, it's not like it happened in the past. It's still ongoing in my life at the moment, so I'm not gonna do a whole intro speech. I'm just gonna dive right in. Is that okay with you? Because it's okay with me. Let's go. So as some of you may know, I am in my second year of college at the moment. With that being said, my first year in college, after I finished it, me and my friends wanted to move out on our own so we could be essentially closer to campus and so we could have that college experience. Last summer, me and 3 of my friends went apartment hunting. So we did a lot of research and we were trying to look at different apartment complexes because this city, this area is not a very safe place. It's not the safest place in the world. So we wanted to make sure that we were gonna find a place to rent that was affordable for all of us, that was in a safe community, and a place that was at least 10 minutes driving or walking distance from school. So we found a place with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The plan was that 2 girls were gonna sleep in 1 bedroom together and the other 2 girls were gonna share the other bedroom. It was a little bit pricey, but we all agreed that we wanted to do it because we wanted the college experience. So we signed our name on a waiting list, and the lady at the leasing office said that she would get in contact with us when it came closer to the time that we were gonna start school, which was the time that we were going to move in, which was generally around September. So a couple of months passed and we find out that one of the girls no longer wants to move out with us. She said that she had a lot of bills to focus on and that she would barely be able to make ends meet. So we understood. We were like, okay, I mean, that's fine. But it did put a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on the other 3 of us. I'm not very sure what exactly the rent looked like at that place, but I believe it was about $600 a month for all 4 of us. When one of our friends said she didn't want to move out, that meant that her $600, that part, was going to be divided amongst the other 3 of us. So actually, we would be paying $800 a month for rent, utilities, and electricity. My other 2 friends said that they thought that we could handle this, but I am a very rational person and I said, there's no way in hell we are doing this. There's no way in hell I'm doing this. It's not gonna be easy, which means it's not gonna be fun. So I told my friends, look, if we can find another roommate, then fine, we'll move in, that way rent will be $600. But if we don't find another roommate, we're gonna have to find another place to live because there's no way that I'm doing this. There's no way that I'm gonna barely make ends meet with like 2 or 3 jobs and barely be passing school. It's just not gonna happen. So that was the deal. So we kept looking and we found this place that was actually pretty perfect for us. It's almost like it was too good to be true. Yeah. I'm not gonna mention the name of this place in this video because I don't wanna get sued, because I feel like they're so stupid that they would really try to sue me just for speaking my mind, but okay, trust me, I would drag them if I could. So I did a lot of research, as one should when they're trying to move into a house or rent an apartment or whatever. So I did a lot of research, I put a lot of time into it. And I remember it was really weird because when I searched in the name on Google, I hadn't pressed search yet, but I was just typing it in, and a rating of 1.5 stars came on the screen for Google Maps. And I was like, okay, that's actually pretty horrendous. I was like, that's weird. So I finished typing out the name and then I click search. Once you click search, it refreshes the page and the rating is now 3.6 stars. So I was like, okay, well, that's better than 1.5. But I don't know, I always found it a little bit strange that they had 2 different ratings. So I don't know. Some of the reviews say things like, absolute nightmare, dealing with trashy kids throwing parties occasionally and security not doing anything about it. I would never recommend this place if you're looking to live and pursue your education over at blank. Plus, living with people in the same unit who have no disregard for your belongings and safety is another highlight of my experience here. The overall maintenance team is good and the management turning over a new leaf compared to older staffs that were absolutely insufficient and rude. Seriously consider your options before leasing up a place with blank. Another review says, the staff are young and non-experienced. Some of them are very rude to the customer. True. They don't have customer service skills at all. The management is terrible. You will probably be put into a filthy apartment, possibly pets, even though they are not allowed. And the management will take care of none of it. Prices are too high for the terrible experience. Another review says, if I could give this place 0 stars, I would. Horrible place to live. Stay far away. And my personal favorite, I couldn't transfer because I had emergency surgery. They still wouldn't break my lease even though I would not be able to go live there. They are taking advantage of my situation to get money. They even have me locked out of my account for some reason. I would stay far away from this place. Also, another one of my favorites, sucks. Me. I even took the liberty of checking on Instagram to see if they had an account filled with pictures of their residents or maybe pictures of their houses. But what I found was something completely different. Someone made an Instagram account dedicated to exposing all of the things wrong with this place. I can't show you these pictures without you finding out the name of this place and, you know, the account, so I'm just gonna read some of the captions off of the pictures for you. They should improve their security. Most of the time, this white, overweight guard, who will never be able to catch anyone if he needed to, needs to change. In this picture, he's walking back and forth talking on the phone. Great job. Many residents, including myself, have found rats running in the kitchen and into the rooms. They clearly didn't mention this when they signed my lease. So, if you're looking forward to it next year, sign up today. And the last one, don't forget to rate on Yelp and Google. The management staff shouldn't be allowed to rate themselves to make themselves look good. Too bad they're the only ones who rate 5 stars. So I showed the Instagram account and the Google reviews to my friends, but they were both still very eager to move out to this place. What really helped push them along was that we actually had friends that had lived there their first year of college, and from what I can remember, they said that their experience was pretty good. With that information, we scheduled a tour to tour the complexes. On Friday, May 19th, my friends and I took the tour to see the houses, and they were actually pretty nice. We were really shocked. Keep in mind, everything was fully furnished, so it kind of gave the illusion of what it would look like if you lived there and your stuff was there and your teddy bear was on the bed and your picture frames were on the wall. After viewing all the rooms, the girl who gave us the tour started to break down the prices for each room. Each house came with 5 rooms in it, so essentially you'd be living with the people who you wanted to room with, and then you'd be living with, you know, 3 or 4 other strangers. The cheapest room was about $645 a month, and that was the room that came with 2 beds in it. So you were going to be sharing one room with another person, and each person had to pay $645. It wasn't $645 for the both of you. So kind of a little bit of a ripoff. I don't know. I don't know. I think the most expensive room was $900 a month or $1,000 a month. I don't even know, but it got pretty pricey. The rooms were an okay size, and like I said, they came fully furnished. But there was still something that I wasn't fully in love with. After the tour, we went downstairs to the lobby to look at the contract and the rules and everything that you need to know before you live there, such as, you know, there's no pets allowed, there's no smoking, there's no partying, there's no blah, 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 you know? So we went over things like that, but I never signed a contract. I signed an application. So my 3 friends and I filled out a form stating that we wanted to live together. Me and one of my friends were going to take the $645 room, so we were going to share that one room, and then my other friend was going to take like an $800 or $900 room. After signing that, the lady told us that we needed to have a co-signer because you couldn't live there by yourself without a co-signer unless you made 3 times the amount of rent. None of us made 3 times the amount of rent, which is like a no-brainer. So all of us had to have a co-signer. So immediately I call up my mom, and I know that my mom has had previous issues with her credit. I know that, you know, when I was younger, it was pretty low. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, can you be my co-signer? These are the qualifications. You have to make 3 times the amount of rent. You have to have a good credit score. You have to like be 25 or older, things like that. And she said, yes, I have been working to improve my credit score. I think that it has improved enough for you to be able to put my name down as your co-signer. It was an online account that we had. So we submitted the co-signers and the information and stuff, and we went on our way. We went home. A few weeks later, my friends and I received an email from the leasing office. Theirs read something along the lines of, hey, your application was approved. Mine read like this: Dear Alyssa, thank you for your application for residency with blank. We have carefully considered your application and have approved it with one or more of the following conditions. The leasing staff will work with you and help determine the exact conditions that will apply. 1, add a new guarantor or cosigner. And 2, approve lease lock agreement. This decision was taken because of the following reasons. Credit. So basically what this email is saying is that I was correct. My mother's credit was still not enough for her to be able to be my cosigner. I did get declined, but they're saying that they will approve me if I do 2 of these things for them. If I get a new cosigner with better credit, obviously, and 2, I have to apply for a website called Lease Lock, which is basically an insurance program that helps renters get approved. At this point, I still really wanted to move in with my friends. This was all I wanted to do. So of course I wanted to go ahead and ask the leasing office, you know, what it is exactly that I can do and tell me what exactly these things mean. Here's where shit blows up. When I called the leasing office and told them that my mom was denied as my cosigner, they told me this. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. They told me that if I did not find another cosigner, I was not going to be able to rent with them, which is perfectly fine. I totally understand. But here's the best part. Okay. Yeah, they said that even though I wasn't gonna be living there, even though I wasn't going to be staying at their apartment complexes, they were going to charge me the full year's rent, and I wasn't even gonna be living there. By the end of the year, I would be paying roughly $8,000 for a room that I never slept in. Never even seen with my own eyes. Just mind-boggling, isn't it? 3 things, okay? 3 things. 1, I sent an application. Applications are supposed to be denied or approved. Mine got denied. Therefore, I am no longer liable or responsible for this apartment complex, which is not mine. It's not mine because I got denied. If I got approved, then yes, it would be mine, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? 2, the apartment was never mine. You're telling me that I'm going to have to pay for a room that I never slept in, never stepped foot in, never even seen with my own eyes. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And 3, fuck you. Fuck you. If that ain't some bullshit, that is some shit, okay? So of course, I'm freaking out. I'm panicking to find a new cosigner. I asked everyone I know. I asked my sisters. I asked my brother-in-law. I asked my sister to ask her in-laws. I asked my boyfriend's sister. I asked 2 of my best friend's sisters. I even went as far as to ask an old teacher. And every one of them said that they couldn't help me because they either had bad credit or they were being held liable for something else, and that's where their attention needed to be focused, which is completely fine because at the end of the day, it's my problem. But I was still stuck in the situation where I was pressured to find a cosigner. So the next day I called the leasing office and I'm like, look, I have called everyone I know and there's no way I can find a cosigner. I'm not gonna be able to find one. What am I supposed to do? And they're like, well, there is something else that you can do. And I'm just like, what now? Huh? Y'all really testing me, okay? So the lady tells me, it just gets more comical every single time. The lady tells me that my only other option, if I cannot find another cosigner, is to basically ask around for someone that wants to take over my lease. I need to find someone else to take over my lease, and then I will be set free, is what she's saying. Because now that that person is, you know, taking over my lease and my apartment, then I will no longer be held responsible for the payments because, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not very good at arguing or very good with confrontation. It just scares me. So I was like, all right, bitch, I'll see what I can do, you know? I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. I'll get back to you. So I call my mom and I tell her everything that's going down, okay? After telling my mom everything that this lady told me, she was pissed because she was saying that they're basically using me to do their job for them. They were using me to promote an empty spot so that, you know, they could have someone else rent that spot rather than it just be empty, or rather than just waiting for someone else to come along. No, they're using me to do their job of promoting an empty spot for them. So then my mom gives me the whole let mama take care of this speech. So I'm like, you know what, at this point I'm just so overwhelmed and frustrated. I'm just like, here, just let's see what mama can do, okay? Because usually people will listen to an older adult rather than an 18-year-old adult, even though we're both adults. That's the way America works. So my mother calls me back the next day and she says that she spoke to the manager. We will give the manager the name Valerie, okay? So my mom says, I spoke to the manager, a woman by the name of Valerie. She said that we will sort everything out, that everything is taken care of, and I do not need to worry about this anymore. I do not need to worry about the lease anymore. Key sentence, boys and girls. She said that I will no longer be held responsible for the lease. So I was obviously really happy to hear that. I remember thinking, wow, they were really trying to play me. They were really trying to have me do their job for them when, you know, the next second I get my mama on the phone and then everything is just dropped. Everything, they just casually drop anything. Like, oh, no, she never had to do any of that. Like, it's fine. I was like, okay, well, I was just so happy to get them off of our backs. So I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. They tried to play me, it's okay. My mom had a handle on this. So everything's normal, everything's fine. And 2 months pass and I'm not sure why, but I get a phone call from this place. And I answer it and the girl is just like, hey, so have you found a cosigner? I'm just like, what? What do you mean cosigner? What do you mean? And she's like, yeah, have you found a cosigner or have you found someone to take over your lease? I'm like, yeah, my mom spoke to Valerie, your manager. She said that everything was taken care of, that I wouldn't, you know, be needing to worry about the lease anymore, that it was all good, it was a-okay. And the lady was like, what do you mean you don't have to be responsible for the lease? And I was just like, cause like I'm not good at conversation. So luckily my mother was in the same room as me. So I passed my mom the phone and here's where shit goes down. My mom somehow gets on the phone with Valerie. She asked to speak to the manager. They gave her the phone. So she is talking to Valerie. I can hear this about the agreement that they had that, you know, I wouldn't be held to the lease. And obviously my mom didn't have the phone on speakerphone, so I did not hear word for word what happened on the other end of the conversation. But from what I gather, they were talking about the agreement and that it was basically something along the lines of my mom saying, okay, so that's on you. What I gather from that is my mom was saying that they just need to update their records and that they need to send in some paperwork and that everything was gonna be taken care of. That's how we ended the conversation. She said, okay, well, you know, take care of it on your part and then we'll be okay. So yes, that's how the conversation ended. It ended with us being on the same page. Everything was still, you know, in agreement that I didn't have to worry about the lease and that they would no longer be contacting me because they just needed to get their paperwork and stuff in order. It was nothing on my end or my mom's end. It was all on them. So once again, we were told that we were not going to be held to the lease and that they would not be bothering us anymore. So tell me why on Saturday, September 9th, I get a text from a group chat from a girl saying, hi everyone, my name is blank. I received an email from blank containing your information about you being my roommates. So I just wanted to reach out to everyone and say hi and maybe get to know each other before we move in. It's important for you to know that while this was still going down, I had decided that I no longer wanted to do business with them. I just thought that after they were telling me that I had to do all this stuff for them, that I had to find another replacement for my lease, that I had to find another cosigner, they were just putting me through all this shit. And I was like, this place is sketch. So I told my mom, and my mom even told me, she was like, I don't think you should do business with them. And I'm like, girl, way ahead of you. I do not want to do business with these people. So I decided after they said that I wasn't gonna be held to the lease that I did not want to do business with them. And my friends still wanted to move out. They still wanted to be closer to the campus. They still wanted to do all these things, and that's completely fine. They live there now. So when I was checking the recipients of this group chat, I looked and I only see one of my friends in the group chat with me. The other friend is nowhere in there. So I'm like, okay, maybe they got the wrong number. Maybe they switched her number with mine, which is why they're contacting me instead. So it turns out that that is actually correct, because my friend called the day after that and she asked them like, hey, do you have the right number for me? They had a completely different number. So it does solve why her number wasn't on group chat, but it doesn't solve why they contacted me. After that last phone call, I had not gotten in touch with this company at all. They had not called me. They had not emailed me until the next little situation that's coming up. So on October 4th, I get an email saying that I have an upcoming inspection due on October 9th, 2017. Woo, fuck. I'm just looking at this email like, okay, like how are you gonna inspect my apartment if no one lives there, if no one lives in that room? I'm like, okay, be my guest. It's like harassment. They're telling me that everything's okay, and yet they continue to call me. They continue to send me emails. So I'm like, you know, I'm gonna put my adult pants on right now and I'm gonna call them up. So I call up the leasing office, you guys, oh my God. And I explained everything that happens to the receptionist. I explained that I do not live there, that I got denied, that I spoke to Valerie, well, that my mother spoke to Valerie, that everything was settled. And she's over here trying to offer me like,
oh, well, if you sign up now, you can still sign up. We'll give you like the first 3 months free of rent.
I'm like, bitch, bye. But I was very respectful, even though my composure should not have even existed. I was very respectful, very composed, and I was just like, listen, I'm not interested. I just really want to get this solved. I just really want you guys to stop emailing me. I really want you guys to get your records together. I really want you to stop calling me. You guys are harassing me, and it's becoming very stressful and very overwhelming. I don't understand why we're not on the same page when every time we end a phone call, we're apparently on the same fucking page. Sorry, I'm just getting so fucking mad, you guys. Oh my God. So I tell her everything and she's like, okay, I'm gonna speak to the manager. Give me like 2 minutes, I'll be right back. 5 minutes pass, but I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. She comes back on the phone, she tells me, hey, the manager is actually on a phone call right now. I'm not sure how long she's gonna be on that phone call, so I don't wanna have you waiting here. It'll probably take like 10 minutes tops. I will call you back after I speak to her and we'll take it from there. So I'm like, okay, thank you so much. I will be waiting for your call. I waited for 2 hours, you guys, 2 hours. And I'm like, are y'all kidding me right now? I'm like, okay. I'm like still literally composing myself. I'm like, okay, it's fine. She probably forgot about me. It's totally cool. It's not like that doesn't happen often. So I call back and it's another girl. And I have to explain the whole spiel to her because, you know, the girl that I previously spoke to apparently left. She went home or whatever. So I tell her the same thing and the girl tells me the same thing. She's like, okay, I'm gonna talk to my manager. I will be right back. I waited for this girl for 30 minutes on hold. She never came to come back on the phone and say, hey, I'm sorry, it's taking a while. It's just gonna be this much longer. Like, that's all it takes. Communication is all it takes to have good customer service, which they have none, by the way. I'm waiting here for 30 minutes. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Is this the DMV? Am I fucking waiting to call the White House? Like, no. And at least, like, they should have had the common courtesy to be like, hey, we will call you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't even have the decency to do that. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If they actually value me as their customer, which I am not, but if they value me as a person at least, they will have the decency to call me back. If they have any interest in this case, in solving why I'm getting these emails, in you know, figuring this shit out together, if they had any interest, they would have called me back. You guys, they didn't ever call me back. And so I was just like, okay, it's very obvious that they do not care, that they do not value my call. So I'm like, I don't value their shit at all. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine. Don't call me back. It's not my problem anymore. What happens next is what is making me make this story. Even though they put me through all of this stress, through this emotional time, through this hassle, I am a good enough person to not, say shit, to not expose what happened. I'm still not, saying everything because these people are so stupid, and they probably, I don't know, maybe they'll find a way to like sue me or something for if I say their name. So I'm still doing them justice by not saying their name, but fuck. What happens next is just really sealed the deal. This is what is making me make this video right now. On October 19th, I received an email stating that my payment is 14 days past due. Thus, in addition to my rental payment, you owe late charges as provided in your lease agreement. The total amount due is itemized as follows. So they have it listed under bullshit, bullshit, and bullshit. So in total, this letter says that I owe $2,538 with 65 cents of bullshit. So I show my mom this email, and she's like, okay, she puts on the whole mom speech again. She's like, give me the number. I will call them. I will talk to them and see what this is about. So she dials the number and she tells them everything that we've been through. And at that moment, I left the car because we were in the car. I just picked her up from work. I left the car to go put gas in the car. And when I came back, I hear my mother's voice is heightened and frustrated, and she's like, look, if my daughter's credit score is ruined because of this, I will have to take legal action. Please tell me if you can help me or not. And I'm not sure what the lady said, but I'm pretty sure she said that I was still held to the lease, which is when my mother responded with, okay, then we'll see you in court. Bye. I know this is a story time, but it's also my life right now. It's really scary to think that this could alter my life in a very negative way. It could ruin my credit score, and I actually have really good credit, so that sucks. These people led my mom and I to believe that we were no longer liable for the lease, which is very frustrating because they lied. They are taking advantage of my situation and referring back to when I was reading those comments about that kid that had to go undergo surgery and wouldn't be able to transfer schools. They didn't release him from the lease. Shocker. And he did mention that they actually locked him out of his account, which is what they did to me. It's very sketchy. I don't know why they would do that. Probably so you won't be able to see the files or whatever. I don't know. I know this story is ending on sort of a cliffhanger, but this is, as far as I know, this is my knowledge at the moment. My mother's work provides them with a legal team of lawyers, so she is actually getting in contact with them at the moment, trying to see what we can do, what can be done. So that's what's going on with that. Guess we'll just have to see what happens.